Hello and welcome back to London Cycle Routes. Today I'll be showing you how to cycle from City Airport in East London to Canary Wharf. This ride takes a little over 20 minutes and you can do the whole thing on quiet streets and protected cycle lanes. By public transport, the same journey takes more like half an hour and requires a change of line, so cycling is a great way to make this trip. That's especially true since the completion of some fantastic new infrastructure along the route, which we'll be looking at today. If you find this video useful or you just enjoy watching it, then please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, as I try to post new videos just like it every week. I'd also like to say a huge thank you to everybody who supports the channel on Patreon. If you'd like to contribute too, then you can find a link in the description below the video. Alright, let's get going. So we're starting on Connell Road, just at the entrance to City Airport. The terminal itself is a little further along up behind us. Immediately after the roundabout, we find ourselves on this fantastic new segregated cycle lane. There is a lot of new development going on in this Royal Docks area, and Newham Council, which controls the streets around here, has put protected lanes down the whole of the North Woolwich Road corridor, which we're on now. There's a cycle lane on this side of the road if you're going westbound, and if you're going eastbound, then there's a similar protected lane on the other side of the street, which is just as good. These lanes are incredibly high quality, with a protected curb and a load of greenery added to make the place feel nicer too, and I genuinely think that this might be one of the best stretches of cycleway built in London in years. It's also very long, and when the whole project is finished later this year, you'll be able to ride right up from City Airport through Canning Town on protected lanes connecting to Cycleway 3 there. In length, it's about 2 miles of high quality cycle lane, which is similar in length to Cycleway 3 all the way from Parliament Square to Tower Hill for context, and it sets this area up very well to connect to London's cycle network as it develops. Most of the lanes are actually done already, including the lanes through Canning Town, but at the time of recording, the bit on the viaduct was still under construction, so I'm showing you this first section down North Woolwich Road, and then we're going to turn off at the end of it and take an alternative route that's already in place. This has no bearing on the cycling, but one thing that I love about this corridor is the way that the Docklands Light Railway is running on that concrete viaduct above us. It just makes the whole thing feel quite dramatic, especially with these new buildings going up around us. You also really get a sense of how close together the DLR stations and how quick cycling is as an option. It's taken us just 2 minutes to cycle from Pontoon Dock DLR to West Silvertown here, or 1 minute in video time, as of course these videos are sped up. These lanes continue to Canning Town on the viaduct to our right, but as I mentioned, we'll be taking a diversion to the left here across this shared space. It actually heads into a one segregated cycle lane which has been put in along Dock Road, or at least there was a one segregated cycle lane here when I visited about 2 weeks before I shot this video, but as you can see, most of the ones have already been taken out by motorists. There are just the little black holders left in most cases, and you can see a few of the ones scattered on the floor here. Nevertheless, this is quite a low traffic street anyway, and a useful connection while the main route is being completed. I do actually hope that even when that route is completed, that this lane will be made permanent with sturdier materials, as it's a useful connector up to where we're going now onto the Lower Lea crossing, which also has new and very good cycle lanes. If you've not seen the cycle lanes in Canning Town yet, do hit subscribe on the channel, as I'll be showing them off in a video as soon as they connect up to the rest of the new network, which should just be a few weeks or a couple of months. These lanes along the Lower Lea crossing aren't quite as well done as the ones along North Woolwich Road. They do get a bit confused when we pass a side road in a moment and give up and start again, but they are wide and smooth and provide a protected traffic-free route that opens up a really useful alignment, making this journey possible today. These lanes that we're on now were actually only consulted on at the beginning of last year, 2024, and delivered about a year after that consultation, which is very fast for a project like this, which normally takes years. I suspect the reason for that is that they were linked to the Silvertown Tunnel project, which is quite nearby, and possibly funded out of the complementary infrastructure cash that was attached to that. I'm not the biggest fan of the Silvertown Tunnel project itself. We did talk about that quite a lot and the bike bus that goes through it in another video earlier this year when it went live, but it is good to see cash from the Silvertown project being used to improve roads for cycling in the wider area around the tunnel. Previously, this flyover called the Lower Lea crossing was just a huge highway that only really catered to motor traffic, and you really wouldn't have wanted to find yourself cycling on here. Now absolutely anyone could ride here, and this curb segregated cycle track feels really nicely separated from traffic, and it's wide enough to accommodate growth of what will probably end up being quite a popular cycle route once all the bits under construction are connected up and more people get to know that it exists. This was actually shot on a Sunday morning and obviously only recently after it opened, so there aren't many people out on it today. As I mentioned before, probably the worst thing about this section is how it deals with side roads. Here you had to cross two Toucan crossings to get over the mouth of quite a minor road. But strangely, right after that, there is this really great separated cycle crossing where the cycling runs parallel to the pedestrians and you don't have to mix people cycling with people on foot, which is just better for everyone. I really wish that this latter kind of crossing was the standard in London versus the shared space Toucan crossings, which are really common in this city for reasons which aren't really obvious to me. It is really just better for everyone when you don't mix cycling and walking in the same space and you just keep those two modes separate. Now we've actually joined the route of Cycleway 3 here. This bit is quite odd. It runs through a privately administered estate. There was that bar gate, which as you saw they always lift it for you if you ride at it. Do be warned that the signage here is wrong and directs you to the right when actually we wanted to turn left down Nutmeg Lane and through this arch. The landowners do seem reasonably accommodating of the cycle route, which is fair enough, but it is really common for private estates to make mistakes like that as they're not always aware of the wider context and they don't really have the expertise of a local authority highway department. Overall though, that stretch is fine if you know where to go, which you will after having watched this video. Coming up though is I think the weakest part of this route, and that's the section of Cycleway 3 along Poplar High Street here. The very weakest bit is this junction. As you saw there was quite a bit of illegal parking outside those flats on double yellows. I've also seen it quite a bit busier than it is today on weekdays. The whole of Poplar High Street is also, I think, in need of some improvements. Today traffic levels are reasonably low when I shot the video, but there are still a few cars around as you see. In theory, most through traffic should use East India Dock Road and West India Dock Road, which are two massive highways which run parallel to it, but due to a lack of restrictions you do find some cars running down here. There was actually a proposal from Tower Hamlets a number of years ago to put a bus gate on here which would reduce traffic levels on Cycleway 3 to an appropriate level for a cycle route at all times, but unfortunately those plans were dropped after the elections as the new administration in Tower Hamlets is not really open to policies like that. I really hope that the bus gate comes back, and also ideally a school street times closure around the entrances to the schools, as in my experience there is quite a bit of school run traffic around here at pick up and drop off times. When you get to the end of Poplar High Street and turn into Ming Street here, it does again get really nice, and Ming Street doesn't really go anywhere, it's just access for these flats, so it's generally traffic free. Ming Street also connects really nicely to this proper cycle crossing over West India Dock Road, where you get a glimpse of the big highway that the traffic on Poplar High Street should really be using. Do note that the two separate sections of lights on that crossing aren't necessarily green at the same time, although they were for me there, so just be careful that you don't accidentally ride over on a red light. We then come around the back of Cineworld, and this is my favourite way into Canary Wharf for anyone who's not seen it before. You just go on Hertsmere Road here, which is relatively quiet, although it has these slightly silly plastic speed bumps on it, which are a little bit unpleasant. You can ride around them like the guy in front of us did. You then turn right up here onto the North Quay. As far as I've been able to work out, cycling is permitted here and on the little bridge up ahead, which we're about to go on to. There are no signs banning it, nothing that I can find on the website, and I've done it and seen it done in front of Canary Wharf security officers, so it seems to be okay. Please do remember though that this area is shared with pedestrians, and especially on the bridge, please just make sure you ride sensibly so that Canary Wharf group, which controls the streets around here, doesn't change its mind about permitting cycling. You make a left turn at the end of the bridge and head down Fisherman's Walk past all the sort of novelty drinking establishments for office parties. And we're going to just briefly continue on this for a while until we get to the DLR tracks, which are just up ahead there. You can see a DLR train on the viaduct ahead of us. We're going to turn right up Frobisher Passage and end right in front of the Canary Wharf DLR station, which is at the base of 1 Canada Square, which I guess is what most people think of as being the centre of Canary Wharf, although it's obviously a pretty big place and we've really been in it for a while. But anyway, thank you so much for watching that. I hope you find that a useful route. I absolutely love the new cycle infrastructure on North Woolwich Road, and I can't wait for it to be completely connected to the route up through Canning Town so I can show that off in a video. But it does, as you see, already connect really nicely to the new lanes on Lower Lea crossing, and it enables this route from City Airport to Canary Wharf. I don't know if anyone's ever flown out of City Airport. I haven't done it. I don't know if anyone's flying or not doing it, but I suspect that a lot of people who do fly out of City Airport probably work in Canary Wharf and vice versa. So yeah, if you find it a useful route, either to commute and work at City Airport or to go from your office in Canary Wharf on your business trip, well, maybe you can take a bike next time. Do let me know in the comments what you think of the route, and particularly what you think of the new infrastructure. Hit subscribe if you haven't already done so, and thank you once again to everyone who continues to support the channel on Patreon. I really appreciate it, and it really does help keep the channel going. If anyone else is looking to support it, wants to throw money at me, then you can find a link to the Patreon in the description below the video. Thanks again to everyone for watching, and I'll see some of you in the comments and the rest of you next week. Goodbye.